Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Backloggery. I haven't been here in like 2 weeks, and I don't necessarily want to do this like a weekly thing, but it's definitely something I want to do every once in a while to update the stuff. And it's sort of like definitely my chill streams, and today is like a rainy, lazy kind of day, so it's definitely the kind of Backloggery days that you would like to see. What statement did I just make? What was that sentence? I'm trying to say that today is like a chill day, chilly in the temperature wise as well. So you know, we're gonna do something chill tonight. So tonight's ambient sounds comes from the channel, the Vault of Ambience. It's called Enchanted Forest Music and Ambience, Sparkly Forest. This isn't Harry Potter music, is it? I wouldn't think so, but let's hope it isn't. Let's really hope it isn't. Anyways, let's get back to Backloggery. So the last time we did a thing. The last thing we added was, what was the last thing we did? Not Twitter. I don't want to go to Twitter. God of War, Ghost of Sparta. Ghost of Sparta. Okay, so I do have my PS3 thing open. It's just a little bit dark, so we're gonna go ahead and update from that point onwards. No, I haven't gotten any new games since the last stream, so we should be fine in that department. Okay, so we did Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta, so the next thing would be Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Cool. Is that the first Resident Evil game I'm adding? I think it is. So Resident Evil Code Veronica X on the PS3. Let me put that on. Okay. Now, it shouldn't be any music on this one. I have to keep in mind when a game actually does music, like the game loading screen on the PS3 does music, because that's going to interrupt with the actual ambience that we have going on, and we don't want that. Okay, so Resident Evil Code. That's actually my favorite Resident Evil game, believe it or not. I mean, I love Resident Evil 2 and 4 and even Remake, but Code Veronica is actually the first Resident Evil game I beat. So let me go ahead and add that real quick. It was one of the first games it was the first game I played on my own. The first Resident Evil game, I mean, that I played on my own, rather than like seeing somebody else play it because I was too scared to play it. Back when I was a little wee child. Resident Evil. The spelling of this one's kind of weird. Hold on, let me go to Google real quick. Resident Evil Code Veronica. Yeah, so the capital, not the spelling, yeah, but like you see in here they do code in all caps, and then over here they don't. I guess I technically trust the Resident Evil wiki a little bit more than Wikipedia, but not by much. But Capcom. Okay, I guess that's 2 out of 3 that write it like that. So we're gonna write it like Resident Evil Code in all caps, then Veronica, and then X. And this is actually the HD remaster of the game. It is it's not my favorite way of playing the game, because not only did they remaster the graphics, they also changed the control scheme specifically. And I'm so used to the original back when I was playing it on the PS2 that there's no option for any control scheme that works like that one. and it just felt really awkward to play. Now the game, I guess, does look a little nicer, but it's... I think I prefer the controls over the graphics, to be perfectly honest. But nonetheless, there it is. Code Veronica X. It is in fact my favorite Resident Evil game. Like, I don't know, there's just something about the atmosphere and the setting, and again, maybe just a little bit of nostalgia that makes me really, really like this one. But we may get some other Resident Evil games today, because we are going to look at my PS1 collection. That's where I have some other ones. Now, let's see. This is PlayStation 3. Now, the original release of Code Veronica, without the X, was on the Dreamcast. And then they made Code Veronica X for GameCube and PS2. And the difference of the X edition is that it has a few more cutscenes with Wesker. And it also, I believe it adds Wesker as a playable character in like the extra mode that you can play after the game. I think that's the difference. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same game. So if you don't care for Wesker too much, then you're not gonna get a whole lot of the Resident Evil Code Veronica X experience. Nonetheless, this is the version that you will probably end up getting anyways, because it's the most abundant version. I've actually never seen a copy of just regular Code Veronica without the X on Dreamcast, so hey. Well, yeah, technically the original system is Dreamcast, but just for the sake of consistency, I'm gonna put this as PlayStation 2. Just because there was an X version on PS2. That is owned, and that is beaten. I haven't completed it yet, because I haven't finished the game getting the highest ranking letter to get like the infinite launcher. And I don't think I've ever completed any of that extra game. I don't frequently complete Resident Evil games, actually. I don't know, the extra stuff never amused me, never interested me. Until Resident Evil Remake, that I decided to just complete one day for some reason. And that was fun. I should probably do it again with this game, since it's supposed to be my favorite. But, achievements, it does have achievements. I did actually go back between the previous Backloggery stream and this one to, update all of the things. What am I trying to say? All of the achievements and trophies that I hadn't updated last time. So that's taken care of. I'll show you guys in a bit. But this time, I guess I can probably just do that afterwards, because I feel like having to navigate through the whole trophy list is a little bit annoying. Or maybe we'll do that at the end, but not like in a game by game basis, because it's just kind of time consuming. Progress note. Beaten yet to 100%. I do want to 100% it again, just I haven't gotten around it yet. And that is an excellent game. I love this one. So we're gonna give it 5 out of 5 stars. And that's pretty much all I need to do with that one. Okay. Now, real quick, I'm gonna go to Reddit and post the link to the thing, because I forgot to do that. There we go. Okay, I had to wait a little bit, because you actually have to wait 24 hours on Reddit before you can post the same link. And because I started at around this time last night, like yesterday, I had to wait a little bit longer to actually post it. Now that's posted. We've got that ready. Maybe a few more viewers will start trickling in with that little update. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the browser. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys real quick. So pretty much everything that had a that I have any progress on with trophies, I went ahead and updated it. I don't remember which ones I didn't update last time. Whichever ones they were, they have been updated now. So there you go. Again, if I don't have any trophy progress, then I didn't bother to actually update it. But normally I would. Okay. Again, if I actually did have some progress. Exploration Bridge, I don't think we have anything like that. Alright. That seems to be about it. Okay. Cool. Let's get back to the main event. So the next game on the list is going to be... I need to turn my controller on every time I do this. Okay. Devil May Cry HD collection. That doesn't have music, does it? So that's Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. I know this collection is out on PC, so that's probably where I'm going to be getting it. However, hey, Aiken Labs, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. We started a few minutes ago. The only game we've added so far is Resident Evil Code Veronica X, so you haven't really missed too much. But let's go ahead and add good old DMC. Please play DMC 2. I freaking love that meme. I haven't seen Vinny in a while, but I really gotta catch up with him. Alright. Game name, Devil May Cry. I actually, quote-unquote, streamed this one. In the old version of the channel. But I didn't stream it with commentary, so this is something I really gotta get back to one day. And this is part of the Devil May Cry HD collection. So the original system here was PlayStation 2. These were PlayStation 2 exclusives back in the day. They are no longer exclusives to PlayStation or PlayStation 2, 3 or PlayStation in general. They are now available on most consoles. Yeah, you can get this Devil May Cry collection on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC. So that's pretty much everything. So you should be good. I got up too early today, and I'm all ready for work, but I don't have to leave for another 40 minutes. Kind of still tired though, so I'm gonna rest while listening here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no work can definitely be exhausting. I'm not looking forward to this week because I have mostly closing shifts. I only get one non-closing day. Might honestly change my availability because this is starting to just become very annoying. Every time we get somebody to help us close, they stop being available for it. Also, this... Are we sure this isn't Harry Potter music? It sounds really similar, and I don't want Harry Potter music because that sounds a little bit too DMCA dangerous. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna pick something else. Royal Library, Rain and Thunderstorm Sounds, a study of Famine. Okay, that doesn't have music. Yeah, that's much better. I'm a little scared of the music that sounds too much like Harry Potter. Oh, but good news! I set an appointment for my next vaccine for next. Oh, nice. We still haven't gotten any vaccines in my place. We need some of that. We really do. Anyways, that's another discussion. So, interesting thing about Devil May Cry 1 is that it was originally going to be Resident Evil 4. And that's why that game in particular has such a strong gothic, almost horror-like aesthetic. But during development, Hideki Kamiya, I think is the director for it, decided to kind of scrap the Resident Evil idea and just go for something completely original. And that's where Devil May Cry came in. And hey, we got one of the most highly acclaimed hack and slash series of all time, so that was a good change over there. Now let's see. This game is beaten. I don't think I will ever complete Devil May Cry. At least not the first one, because that is a challenge. That is difficult, and I'm not ready for something like that. Again, I think we will update the achievements at the end rather than doing it right now. And the progress note is this game is beaten. I managed to beat normal difficulty. Yeah, I've always played this game on easy. I managed to beat normal, and that was nightmarishly difficult. So I don't think I'll ever be able to go anything higher than normal unless I do like a lot of exploits. Which, fair enough. I've been watching a lot of like speedrun videos recently, and I mean exploits is the name of the game for a lot of you know, strategies. So maybe I'll give it a shot. Anyways, this game it's not a 5. I don't think it's a 5, but it's definitely like a 4. It's a fun. It is a fun time. HD collection. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Okay, my only advice is to make friends with a hospital clinic worker, so you might know when they have leftover vaccines. That's definitely a luxury that I don't think I have. I don't wait a minute. Yes, I do. I gotta get on. I gotta get in contact with somebody after today. Okay. Let us now add a Devil May Cry 2. The black sheep of the Devil May Cry series. Devil May Cry 2 is it's not a bad game. It's just not quite as well made, well executed as the other Devil May Cry games. Yeah, I must reiterate, it's not bad. It's just in comparison to the game before it and the one after it, it leaves a lot to be desired. But isn't that the hold shoot to win game? I don't know, because I don't think I've ever tried to play Devil May Cry 2 in a particularly exploity kind of way. I always just play it like just a regular hack and slash. But it might. Maybe that's part of why people don't like it. Maybe like the guns are too powerful in that one. And I do remember some very annoying enemies that might have actually been better dealt with guns rather than hack and slash. But I'll have to revisit it one day and see what the fuss is all about. Now let's see. That one's beaten. Again, I've never completed a Devil May Cry game because it's just too much to ask in that department. But this one it's kind of interesting because there's actually 2 playable characters. There's Dante and there's Lucia. And they're both pretty cool. They're both pretty fun. I don't recall how much I played as Lucia though. It's been a minute. But it's cool that they actually went to the trouble of doing that, and I believe because of that, the original release of Devil May Cry 2 has 2 discs, the Dante disc and the Lucia disc. So that's nice. But I don't remember much of Lucia's pad, so we're just gonna assume that a bit of Lucia. And that's about all I could really say about that. This one's more like a 3. It's like a 3. I don't think it's 4, but it's not bad enough to be a 2. So we just give it like a 3. Okay. Vinny actually did play DM. Please play DMC2 and hit it for a short time for charity. The combat mechanics really left an impact, to put it in one way. The highlight video is pretty good. I really gotta watch some of Vinny's content. I mean, I have seen Vinny's content. I just haven't seen Vinny's content in a while. But I am aware that he played that game, and there were a lot of memes about him playing that game. Like prior to him playing it, there were just people begging him to do it for some reason. DMC2 specifically, like there's definitely much shittier games that they could have asked for him to play, but they just want him to play DMC 2. So he played DMC 2. And now Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is the name of the third game. And this is and I'm pretty sure this is the special edition of the game. It's not the regular edition. The special edition of Devil May Cry 3 is... I don't know what the difference is between the regular edition. I think it just has like... I think it's the one that adds an easier difficulty and some other content, but yeah, it's pretty much the one that most people went for because it was a little better, and they didn't really release it at a particularly more expensive price or anything, so it was just good fun. And that one, as of right now, is my favorite Devil May Cry, but I have not played Devil May Cry 5 at all. I have only played the demo of the DMC reboot, and I've played about 3 hours of DMC 4. DMC 4 is pretty fun, but I haven't finished it, so I can't really say that it's a... What did I just do? Oh, I did not mean to go into full screen. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. There's also an entire video of the Extra Sauce channel explaining how the DMC2 memes got started. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, this one's also beaten. Cool thing about DMC3 is that I think it does have another playable character in the form of Virgil. Yeah, I think Virgil is playable in that game. But there's also a bit of an RPG element because you can choose Dante's like focus. Basically, you can focus on him on sword attacks. You can focus on your guns. You can focus on defense. You can focus on some. There's basically like 4 different styles that you can start off with, and then unlock 2 extra styles, and then yeah, you probably won't have enough to upgrade any one style all the way, but you will have enough to master one of the styles throughout your regular playthrough. When I played the game for the first time and only time, I went with the sword route, and I kind of want to do I think this Royal Guard is the name of the one that's like more defense focused, because I do like defensive style play though, but I'll have to get around that one day. Anyway, apparently the magic meme formula is dumb chat message plus silly streamer voice, and you know what, works pretty well. I mean, there's skill tree. It's kind of, it's not much of a skill tree. You just keep using the same fighting style, and through time you just get more experience, and that fighting style levels up, so you get new moves and stuff that you can do with it. And I went with the sword because just the way Dante uses his sword in that particular mode is just really fun. But you can still definitely fight without it, because basically the way it works is that you have your regular attack button, shoot button, dodge button, and then you have like your particular fighting style button where whatever style you have selected, Dante will do an extra ability. So if you have the sword style, that's basically another set of sword combos that you can do with it. If you have Royal Guard, that button becomes a block button. If you have gun, I think that just means you can do more shooty things. And it's a really cool system that makes that gives the game a pretty good amount of replay value, because hey, you played the game in one style, maybe the next time you'll play it in a different style and end up liking it more, or maybe not as much, and you never know, because you can experiment it. That's just really cool. It's a very smart design for the game. Now let's see. Ranged ones, loved it. Yeah, this one's definitely a 5 out of 5. It is an absolutely phenomenal game. Okay. I didn't play enough of that Legend of Korra game to see if it has a similar system, but that sounds like That worked pretty well. I almost just dropped my monitor. Hold on a second, because there's a cable in the middle of the chat. Okay, there we go. Let's not have a catastrophe here. Ooh. Okay. Anyways, I believe that is it for the Devil May Cry collection. Drop my monitor. Yeah, not dropped it all the way, but it's not like I'm holding it, but I need to get a better stand for it, because the stand that I'm using for it doesn't stand very well. Or maybe I just haven't installed it properly. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's go back to the backlog. What are we looking at here now? We got 52 games total. That's a hefty amount. And yeah, it's looking like the highest percentage is on finish, and that's just gonna keep going up as we keep doing our things. I do have some water, as I always do. Okay, let me get back to the console, and next in line is Okami HD. Excellent. So this game is another one that I only played once, but was a huge fan of, and the game is currently available on Steam and PS4, and it's available on all modern systems. So I'm probably going to be getting the Steam version sooner or later, but for now we'll just add it as a PlayStation 3 title. Okami is great. It is a phenomenal game, and it is basically a non-Nintendo fan's best choice for a Zelda experience. The way Okami works, the mechanics, the level design, the characters, it all feels very Zelda-like, without actually being Zelda and being a completely unique experience. So I guarantee you, if you enjoy the Legend of Zelda, like the 3D Zelda games, you will love Okami. It just has a much more action-packed fighting system, and it also does have the drawing mechanics, and on the Wii they use as motion controls, but using the joystick is also just perfectly fine. It's not a bad thing. Now, the spelling of Okami is it uses this little character, so it's not Okami, it's Okami. You have to hold the O for a little bit. Okami. And Okami means like wolf god, and that's why Okami Mio is that's why she's a wolf. That's why she's a wolf, like shrine maiden looking character, because her name literally means like wolf goddess or wolf god, basically. And she's actually never played. I don't think she's played Okami. I would like to see Okami Mio play Okami. That would be fun. But regardless, Okami, it is an awesome game. It is excellent, but I've only played it once because it's also very long. It's not like a JRPG, but it has the length of one, and it also feels like it ends like 2 times before it actually ends. It's one of those games where like there will be a boss fight that feels like a final boss fight, and then it's not, and that happens twice before you fight the actual final boss fight. But I'm excited to go back to it one day. The art style is freaking beautiful. The art style is beautiful. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The characters are lovable. It is an excellent game. It is also by Hideki Kamiya, I believe. Maybe not. Was it Hideki Kamiya? No, but it was. I don't think so. But actually, it was by Clover Studios, which went on to become Platinum Games. So the people that made Nier Automata and Wonderful 101, Bayonetta, Vanquish, all of those. Before that, they were known as Clover Studios, and this was their big hit. So, pretty good. catch up with the chat real quick. Raukau had been let's playing this game, but I haven't been keeping up with it since part 1. Can explain why I can't watch more than like one video of that game in a row, because it does look fantastic. Yeah, Okami come more like, but yeah, Okami is it's really good. If you don't want to watch a let's play because you want to play it, that's perfectly fine. It's not like the most memorable story you will ever witness, but it does have some twists and turns. So if you want to experience that firsthand rather than through a let's play, that's perfectly understandable, because it is a fun game too. It is a good story to get involved with. Now, original system, yeah, this was originally a PlayStation 2 game, so we're going to put that as PlayStation. You'll notice how many freaking games I have that were originally on the PlayStation 2 on my PlayStation 3. I think I have more PS2 remasters and like HD ports than I have actual PS3 games on my PS3. So comes to show where my priorities are. But this one's beaten. There's a lot of stuff to do in Okami. I don't think I completed all of it, so we're just gonna leave that as that. But I did try to complete a good portion of it. Played back on the PS2. Loved it. Okay. This was 5 out of 5. Okay. Now, what is next on the list? Let me go up. Demon Souls. And I think this one actually does have some music. It does not. Okay. Demon Souls just got an HD remake, remaster. It got redone on HD on the PlayStation 5. Which means this version on PS3 is kind of obsolete, because that PS5 version is just looks better, plays better, actually has a functional online, because the online for Demon Souls actually shut down a couple of years ago. I think Germa played this original PS3 version of the game like a year before the servers shut down, so he was still able to enjoy some of the online features. But that is no longer a thing you can do on the PS3. On the PS5 you can, but not on the PS3. And this one is one of those Soulsborne games that is still a PlayStation exclusive. It's only the original version is only available on PS3, and the new one is only available on PS5. So if you want to play Demon Souls, you gotta get a PlayStation console. You know, play Dark Souls, that you can get on pretty much anything else, but Demon Souls and Bloodborne still PlayStation exclusives, unfortunately. But it is my one and only Souls game that I've actually finished. And yes, it was very hard. Yes, it was frustrating. Yes, it took me a long time to finish it, but I did it, and it was a lot of fun. I never thought before playing it, I didn't think I would actually enjoy playing a Souls game, but when I actually watched Germa's entire playthrough of Demon Souls, and it looked fun. Like, frustrating and very, very difficult at times for sure, but still fun. So I decided to get it myself just to play it, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm looking forward to playing it again on PS5 one day. But that's gonna be for when, we get that. And I also look forward to actually playing the other Souls games, because if you like one, you'll probably like the rest of them. And I've seen enough gameplay of the Souls series to be like, yeah, I think this is something I would enjoy. That is what the original system is on PS3, so we don't have to add anything to it. Now, interesting thing with Demon Souls is that it actually got published. This original release got published twice by like two different companies. One was Atlas, I believe, and the other one was, who was the other one that published Demon Souls? Is it Bandai Namco? I know they published Dark Souls. I don't know if it was they did Demon Souls as well. Let me look that up real quick. Demon Souls publisher. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so it was released by Atlas, but it got a second release under a different publisher. I remember that. I distinctly remember that. Like here in North America, it got re-released twice. Okay. First announced from Famitsu Tokyo Game Show, blah blah blah. Huh. Yeah, so it was Atlas, and then so Demon's originally shut down. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I could have sworn that Demon's Souls was originally released by two different publishers. But point is, in every different region of the game, it was published by somebody else. So Sony Computer Entertainment in Japan, Atlus in the USA, and then Bandai Namco in PAL regions. So there you go. It's cool, I guess. Now, this one is beaten. I'm not about to go complete Demon Souls. That is a task beyond my capabilities. Because in order to complete Demon Souls, you have to do some things, or you have to do some things, which are apparently made even more difficult by the fact that the online is not working anymore. So that's not something I'm going to do. So when I play this game, it's just going to be a regular playthrough. I'm not trying to complete this. I say, but I've said that before about other games that I ended up completing anyway. So who knows? But as of right now, I'm not looking to completing that. Finished after online servers shut down. Sad face. Okay. Would I rate a 5 out of 5? I don't know. But I would definitely rate it a 4 out of 4 at least. Maybe the remake would actually be a 5 out of 5 because it is a really good game. I think that's all I need to say about that. Now let's see what is next on the list. Next on the list, let me turn this on, and this one I know has some music. Remember Me. So I'm gonna mute that real quick. Remember Me. It is a game that not many people remember. It is a game made by Don't Nod Games, which is the same developer behind the Life is Strange series. Yeah, they made this before Life is Strange, and this is a very graphically impressive game. And that's because this was published by Capcom. So they actually had some funding for this one. Then Life is Strange is just, pretty sure it's an indie project of theirs, so they didn't really have the funds for that one. But it is an action adventure. It's like a typical, like one of those action adventure games that tries to be a little bit of everything and ends up being not quite focused enough at the same time. But basically it's set in Neo Paris, so it's like modern day France, because Don't Nod Games, I'm pretty sure, is a French developer located in France. So, you know, they just had to go outside and take some pictures, and then imagine, now what if this was 50 years in the future or something like that. So they made this, and there's I feel like the game thinks it's a lot more epic and story driven and memorable than it actually is, unfortunately. Yeah, Remember Me is not a game that many people remember because there's not much to remember. It's not the combat system is kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum, but just not as good. It does have it has an interesting combat system in which, like, you basically unlock moves that your character remembers, and you set those moves in a particular order, and I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'd have to actually show you with gameplay. But it's alright. It's got quote unquote platforming. It's that like automatic climbing platformer that became so popular during this like early 2010s time period, you know, like the Uncharted style of climbing. That's alright. Again, the story, it's alright. I would say the biggest praise I can give for this game is just how freaking beautiful it is. Like the actual locales and art direction and all of that is very, it's very pretty to look at. This almost looks like a PS4 game on a PS3. Frame rate's a little bit sluggish, but whatever. I guess you pay the price when you make your games hyper realistic. But again, this one also has a PC release. It's not on my priority list to get it again, but it's not a bad game. It'll be just like a fun little distraction when we want to play something quick one day. It's only a couple hours long. It's like maybe 6 to 8. So again, the average length of one of those action adventure games. It'll be a little bit longer if you try to go for completion and stuff, because there's a bunch of stuff to collect throughout the level. But you don't need to collect. Like, it has a lot of nebulous collectibles that some of them like unlock lore, and I never really bothered to read the lore. I don't know. I don't like. It's not that I don't like lore reading, it's just that I'm not good at understanding lore. I can read an entire document, big-ass thing just full of text explaining the world and physics and laws and the history of a game's world, and I won't understand a damn thing about it. I needed some YouTuber to explain it to me, because I'm just not good at understanding it. But, you know, maybe if I take it slow, I'll be able to understand it a little bit better. And that's why I did complete. Just felt like completing it one day. So, be on hardest difficulty and just a guide to find all the collectibles. So, not that hard to complete. On hard, it's not that hard. I mean, it's definitely challenging in some areas, but not insane. Devil May Cry on normal difficulty is way harder than Remember Me on hard difficulty. So, you know. So, right. Okay. And achievements, I will add those later. It's like a 3. It might even be like a 2. But I'll leave it at 3 for now. I don't want to be too mean towards it. It was like Don Knotts. I'm not sure if it was their first game ever, but it was definitely their first big game. Actually, let's look that up real quick. Don't Knot Entertainment. What was their first game? It was their first game. Remember Me. Well, damn. I feel bad that not many people remember the first game, and it was so ambitious. Yeah, I think they had a very, very ambitious first project, so that might be what it kind of fell flat. Maybe if they tried to do this again today, it wouldn't be so. It would be a little bit more well received. And Vampire, they actually made this. I think I have that game either on PS4 or on Steam, so that's pretty cool. Here's some adventures of Captain Spirit, Life is Strange 2, Tell Me Why, and Twin Mirror. So it looks like they've definitely decided on the very story-driven and not very action-packed kind of game. Now, I don't know if Twin Mirror is an adventure game. Action adventure. Episodic graphic adventure. Action role-playing. So yeah, it seems like they've just kind of settled on the adventure, story-driven, kind of point-and-clicky style of game. Which, I mean, sure. Works for them. I'm not gonna pick on them about it. I've been here this whole time, just resident sleeping before work. That's fine. The full Twitch emotes are so damn hard to tell apart. I just give up. Alright. I should also point out, I did make a poll yesterday. I posted it on Twitter. And it's the whole, like, you can pick the game that I'm going to be playing in between Cthulhu Saves the World, Hylics, and Undertale. I thought that Undertale was going to be winning. But, no. Hylix is winning by 100% with 5 votes. I mean, I'm still keeping the poll up in case anybody wants to, in case we get a surprise. And I'll go ahead and post the link to the poll on the chat real quick if anybody wants to vote. But yeah, I would have sworn that Undertale was going to win because it's freaking Undertale, but I guess people really want to see Hylix. So it's currently on sale on Steam too from the Chinese New Year. So it's even cheap. Normally it's $3. Now it's like $2. I have no excuse not to get it. So again, I'm keeping the poll up, but it's looking like we're going to play Hylix next week. Alright, get some water. Okay, would you ever live stream a point-and-click adventure game? I wouldn't be against it. It would just definitely have to be something that I'm really interested in. I would be willing to do a first impression, because I think I have a couple of point-and-click adventure games on Steam. And I guess the point-and-click adventure genre is one of those kinds of games that it's boring to watch somebody else play, but it's a lot more fun to play it yourself. Or at least for me, I find it really difficult to stay engaged when somebody is playing a point-and-click adventure. And that's probably why I've never really delved too much into the genre, but if I actually try to play it myself, I might actually have a little bit more fun, so you never know. I actually passed it on to the Slimes out Discord, and I knew people would love Hylix. They have an emote for the main character. I think I know the main character. His name's like Wayne. He's got a very normal name for what he looks like, but I am intrigued. I have no idea what the deal with this game is. Like I've seen screenshots and gameplay videos and trailers, and I still don't understand what the fuck's going on here. It's a mess, and that's probably why people want me to play it. Anyways, back to the there's a game. Let's see what is next on the list. It is Ratchet Deadlocked. Now, Ratchet Deadlocked is, I think I talked about it already on the what's the name of it? The thing. You know, when we were discussing Ratchet and Clank last time. But I'll go ahead and touch on it again real quick. So it is the first spin-off of the series. It came out after Up Your Arsenal, and it's called Ratchet Deadlocked and not Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked because you only play as Ratchet. Clank is there, he's an assistant, but he doesn't actually participate in the main story nearly as much as in the previous games. It basically gets replaced by 2 additional robots, and the idea of this game is basically they took the arena matches from Ratchet and Clank 2 and 3 and just made a whole game about them. And it's not bad. It's just not as special as the other Ratchet and Clank games. Which again, speaking of Rift Apart's coming June 11th, apparently they just released a short animation for it. I'll have to watch that on my own time. I'm not sure if I can watch it on stream. I'll probably get banned, or at least they'll give me a slap on the wrist, be like, "Hey, why are you streaming our thing?" But also this HD port ain't too good. It's actually really bad. Is the only way I can feasibly play the game because I think it really doesn't run well on PCSX2. But yeah, this HD port of the game is pretty bad. Very unfortunate, but whatever. Ratchet Deadlocked. It is hold on. Deadlocked. It is called Ratchet Gladiator on the PAL regions. I mean, it's basically the same thing. You're still in a gladiator arena, so everything makes sense. Let me go ahead and check this out. I have an easy solution to keep your audience interested during a point-and-click adventure. play a really funny one like Sam and Max, or a really crappy one like Darkseid 2. Again, I would like to give at least the first impressions to some of the ones that I have on Steam. So even if they're not that great, we're probably not going to play them for a whole playthrough. We're just playing them like once, just to see how it's like, and then be like, okay, well, we'll play that. I can say that I gave it a shot and didn't like it, just like we did with Disruptor. I think there's also a King's Quest game with animated cutscenes on par with the Zelda CDI games. Oh, I do recognize this game, Sam & Max, Darkseid, and King's Quest. I just never played any of them. I particularly recognize Sam & Max because I know that's the same developer behind. What was it? Isn't that Yeah, that's Telltale Games. That's you know, the Game of Thrones people and the Jurassic Park thing. That one. Before they made all those license games, they LucasArts and later Telltale Games. Yes, yeah. Before they made those weird license games, they made like an original, pretty cool story. Interesting how like they started great and then just kind of fell from grace after that, and now they're bankrupt and not here anymore. As far as I understand, at least. Pretty sure they're bankrupt, and like they also had some problems with not treating their developers correctly, and that was just a whole mess. Oh boy. Ratchet Leglock original system is PlayStation 2. I own this game. Actually, you can see it right there. I did complete it back on the PS2. I'll have to complete it again on PS3 just to get the trophies, but otherwise, it's not a big part. It's not too difficult to complete either. It's only got like 10 weapons or 12 weapons as compared to the other games, which have a whole lot more than that. And I remember using some glitches, like exploits, to actually make some of the weapons upgrade. I don't know, it's a weird game, but it's not bad, it's fun, it's just not a proper Ratchet & Clank experience. Beat it on PS2. Okay. They just hammered on the exact same niche over and over and over and over, but also an unhealthy work environment. Yes, yeah. So Telltale Games was not very smart with their decisions, but whatever. That is in the past. We have to move on to the future. What is the next game on the list? It is Dead Nation. Dead Nation is one of the games that came free. With there's a story behind this one. Alright, so back in like 2010, I want to say, maybe 2009, there was this huge like hacking and like data breach of the PlayStation Network, and the PlayStation Network was down. Like nobody could play online for like, I want to say like half a week or something like that. It was pretty bad. And as an apology, Sony actually made 5 games, gave players, all PlayStation 3 owners, a choice of 2 out of 5 games to play, to get for free. Infamous, Dead Nation, Wipeout something, and 2 others. I can't remember what they were, but there were 5 games that they made available for free. I got Dead Nation and Wipeout because I already had the other ones. I don't have Wipeout installed anymore because I just don't care about racing games, but that's why I have this game. I wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. But let me catch up with the chat real quick. Hey, Jack Rabbit, welcome to the stream. Speaking of Ratchet & Clank, have you played Deadlocked? Yes. I completed it back on the PS2. I think he just entered the game on his log. Yeah. Boom! Major thanks for yesterday. Hey, Leo, how you doing? Hope you will enjoy the stream. We're just doing some cataloging tonight. Backloggery cataloging. That's always fun. Just chill kind of streaming. But yeah, Dead Nation. So yeah, there's a very interesting story behind how I got this game and how a lot of people got this game, as well as Infamous and again whatever. I wanna look that up. I wanna know because that was such an interesting event. I remember the PlayStation Network actually did get hacked like multiple times back in the PS3 days. Same for Xbox, and there was just like worldwide people were not able to log into the network and play online because of this hacks. Okay, PS3. PlayStation Network hack 2011 was it? Yeah, the free games. Okay. Remote use of the compensation was so Dead Nation. Oh no, there was a lot more than 5 games. So Dead Nation, Infamous, Little Big Planet. Yeah, so I already had this too. Super Stardust HD, didn't care about that one. Rain, don't remember what that was. Puppeteer, I think I already had Puppeteer. Invisimals, Lost Kingdom, God of War HD, Siphon Filter for the PSP, Little Big Planet for the PSP, Monation Racers, Patapon, Wipeout Pure. Yeah, so that was a big deal back in the day. I don't think they've gotten any hacks like that recently, but back when it happened, it was pretty crazy. These games just keep showing up at my house when I'm sleeping. Man, I remember the network had hacked on Christmas way back in 13, I think. Yeah, so that was a common thing that Sony would have to deal with back in the PS3. I mean, it's shitty that it happened, but we got some free games, so I'm not gonna complain about it. Okay, there's no point complaining about it now, anyways. So, anyways, Dead Nation itself is a it's an isometric twin stick shooter where you kill some zombos. It's alright. It's actually multiplayer. You can play with 2 people, and that's actually the main point of the game, just to play with 2 people. But you can play it solo. I played it solo, and it was fine. I'm not the biggest fan of twin stick shooters. I don't hate them. It's just I don't really play them too much. But like out of all the options for free games, it was this and Wipeout. That was like the main things I could really get from it. Maybe I would have enjoyed this more if I had played it online with a friend, but I don't think I had anybody to play this with. And I don't believe this game has been made available on modern hardware anyway, so if we play it, it'll just be for like a little bit. I don't really see myself replaying the whole game again. I did play the whole game. I did finish it. I think it was just alright. And it was cool that I got it for free. So that was like just a nice bonus for it, but whatever. The PSN outage of 2011. Okay. Yeah, it's like a 3. That's like a 3. It's not bad. It's not a 2, but it's not that great. It's not a 4. So it's just like a 3. Okay. And then the last game we have over here, I think I don't even want to count this one because this is just a demo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Kung Fu Rider. Just a demo of it. Yeah, I'm not gonna count this one, but Kung Fu Rider is a PlayStation Move game where you sit on where your character sits on a chair and goes downhill, and you have to use the PlayStation Move to move it. The only reason I got this demo is because I actually did get the PlayStation Move like a year and a half ago for Dreams on PS4. But I was like, oh wait, this works on PS2 as well. I mean on PS3 as well, so I might as well just get something for it. It looks dumb, stupid, and silly, but it might actually be kind of fun. So I don't know. Again, this is just a demo. Not gonna count that. Let's move on to the PlayStation 2 games that we have over here. We only have 4, but they're good ones. Fatal Frame 1, 2, 3, and God Hand. So let's start with Fatal Frame 1. I previously owned all of these games physically on PS2, and then I got them digitally on PS3, so that I could just move on, trade in the PS2 versions, get a little bit of money out of them. But I love these games. Fatal Frame 1, 2, and 3 are amongst my favorite survival horror games ever made. I mean, they're not my absolute favorites, but I do quite like them. But you have Dreams? Why haven't you streamed that yet? I actually wanted to stream Dreams when I was doing that test stream a long time, like back in December, but it had to update, so I didn't. I couldn't play it right then and there. I was like, whatever. But yes, and I also streamed Dreams, one game on Dreams when we were doing that, when I was doing that VTuber game jam held by Lua Lucky a couple weeks ago, because one of the games, Aussie's Screw Off Competition, I believe is what it was called, that's on Dreams. So I've tried to stream Dreams twice, and I successfully did it once. Played one game on it, but it's there. I would definitely I would be down for some Dreams at one point. Anyways, haven't played Fatal Frame 1, 2, and 3, but you have played 2. It's cool. Fatal Frame 2 is the most highly praised of the Fatal Frame series. It is it my favorite? I'm not sure. It's a pretty close toss-up between 2 and 3. But I've played 1 and 2 twice, whereas I've only played 3 once. So I'll need to go back and revisit it. Now, Fatal Frame 2 is also available on a lot of other consoles. And let's just move on with it real quick. Play 2, 4, and 5. Man, I really want to play 4 and 5. Like, okay, I have 4 with the English patch downloaded onto Dolphin. And I even have a Wii and Wii U sensor bar that you can hook up to the computer that I haven't opened yet. I have to try that one day so that I can actually play Fatal Frame 4. And then 5 unfortunately still doesn't emulate too well on Cemu, so I might have to actually get a Wii U to play Fatal Frame 5. Am I willing to get a Nintendo Wii U just for one game? Good question. I do really want to play Fatal Frame 5, but getting a whole console for one game is an investment. It is not something you do lightly. Hey, streamed it on Halloween. Oh, that's pretty cool. I might go, if you have the archives, I'll go ahead and check them out for a minute. But let's get back to Fatal Frame. Now, Fatal Frame 1 is hard compared to all of the other Fatal Frame games. It is hard. And I remember when I streamed it back in the day, I had to, in my old channel, I had to actually, I got stuck at one point because I just didn't, not because of a puzzle, or anything like that. It's because I was so low on resources that there was just absolutely no way I could proceed with the amount of resources that I had. So I actually had to restart the whole playthrough, and get up to the same point where I was with a lot more resources and stuff this time. And I did it, but still, like, damn. That's the first time that's ever happened to me in a horror game, where I actually got to a point where I was so low on resources that I just had to restart the whole freaking game over. So Fatal Frame 1 does not mess around, and that's on normal difficulty. It has a hard mode, and the Xbox version of the game, there's an Xbox version, it has a little bit more content, and it has an even harder difficulty than that one. There's also an extra ending on the Xbox version if you beat the game on that really hard difficulty, and I think there's a few other things. Basically, the Xbox version of Fatal Frame 1 is superior. But good luck getting an Xbox version of that game. It ain't cheap. It ain't easy to find. But Cemu, with an X, the Xbox emulator, did apparently make a lot of progress out of nowhere the past couple of weeks. So maybe, hey, if the Xbox version actually emulates well, then we can definitely look into that, because I've always kind of wanted to play that version. But yeah, there's two versions of the original Fatal Frame 1, the PS2 and the Xbox version. The Xbox version is the definitive edition, but it is a little bit difficult to get. Now this, I'm actually not going to count that as a PlayStation 3 game. I'm going to count this as a PlayStation 2 game, because this is not a remaster. This is not a port. This is just a game on PS2. It looks like the PS2 version. It plays like the PS2 version. It has prompts of a place. It prompts you like a PlayStation 2 game. It's just on PS3. This one is beaten, not completed. There's some ghosts that you have to take pictures of, and you can't really. It's kind of hard to remember where all of them are. But let's see. Beaten a few times back in the PS2. Wait, no, this is beaten a few times. That's why we need to add to that. Okay, and it's pretty good. Not quite a 5. I wouldn't rate it as a 5, but it's still pretty good. I really like the atmosphere and the combat system of the Fatal Frame games is absolutely genius, because it forces you to get up close and personal with the enemies. But you know, for a horror game, that's exactly what you want. It's a combat system that works for the horror aspects. A lot of horror games opt to just not have a combat system at all in order to make you feel vulnerable. But I much prefer a combat system that implements the horror aspects into the main game. I mean, that implements horror aspects to make you feel scared even while you are still able to defend yourself. Fatal Frame, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, they're all excellent at doing that. Other horror games, I'm not saying all of them are bad, it's just I do prefer my horror games with a unique combat system as opposed to no combat system. Fatal Frame 2 took what Fatal Frame 1 did, refined it, made the levels bigger, made everything more unique. And interesting thing is that Fatal Frame 2 has multiple releases. So I have the PS2 version, but that is the first and most outdated version of the game. It also got an Xbox release with a little bit of extra content. And then it was ported to the Wii as Fatal Frame 2 Deep Crimson Butterfly. That version released on Japan and on PAL regions, but not in North America. And then on the Wii U, there is a port of the Wii version, again available on Japan and on PAL regions, but not in North America. So in North America, the best version you can get is the Xbox version, but in PAL regions you can get the Wii or Wii U versions of Fatal Frame 2. And I'll definitely need to try to emulate the Wii version on Dolphin, because I'm pretty sure the Wii U version is the exact same thing as the Wii version, just looks a little bit nicer. It doesn't have extra content basically, whereas the original Wii version compared to the Xbox version has like more content. It has some adjustments to like camera angles. Basically, it's either the Wii or the Wii U versions are the definitive editions of Fatal Frame 2. It's not quite a remake, but it's still like a pretty substantial lift, update to the game. So many good games falling out of circulation, very unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it works sometimes. Seems like risk is the secret spice in the greatest horror games, regardless of genre. Yeah, you gotta be willing to do something weird with the horror games. Well, not weird, just you have to be willing to make the player either feel vulnerable, because like it's scary for a game designer to make the player feel vulnerable. It's because games are all about feeling empowered and and being in fantasy, but horror games are not about that. They're about making you feel powerless. They're about making you feel scared and vulnerable. And it's very hard to replicate that feeling on games, and it's very hard to do it right. So, you know, when a good horror game comes around, it's noteworthy. You know, I don't particularly enjoy like the Five Nights at Freddy's games, or I can see why they're so successful, because the idea of making you not just unable to fight back, but unable to move, is a very, very ballsy move from Scott Cawthon as a game designer, and it worked. He crafted a game around you being completely stationary, only being able to press a few buttons to quote unquote defend yourself from a bunch of creatures trying to come at you. And again, I don't enjoy the Five Nights at Freddy's games, but I can see why they're so successful, and I can see why there's so much hype around them. I can definitely I can respect the series, even if I don't actually enjoy playing it. Fatal Frame needs a comeback with AR or VR technology. Unfortunately, Fatal Frame is owned by Nintendo now, and they don't seem particularly interested in doing anything with it. The last Fatal Frame anything we got is that Yuri, one of the main characters in Fatal Frame 5, is a trophy assist on Smash Ultimate, and that's literally like the last time we got anything Fatal Frame related. So unless Nintendo does something with the series, we're not getting anything. Or unless they give the series back to Tecmo Koei or somebody else, so they'll actually do something with it. I would like to see that, but it's out to Nintendo now. So just hope they do something. Soundtracks also help emphasize the horror. Yeah, absolutely. You know, horror game soundtracks are also kind of interesting, because sometimes it's better to have no music rather than having a really creepy, scary skeletons music playing on the background. It's better to just be dead silence, and you need to, as a game designer, know when to put music on and when to just let the game be as quiet and eerie as possible. Again, designing a horror game is very different from designing a traditional side-scroller, first-person shooter, hack and slash, you know, like an action-heavy game. A lot of those design philosophies just go out the window when you're making a horror game. Which is why a lot of people really like the genre, because it's very unique. It's very different from what you're used to. Anyways, Fatal Frame 2. Hold on. What do I say about this one? This and 3 are my favorites. Okay. Then someone else should steal the idea, as long as camera horror hasn't been patented or something. Yeah, there was a whole thing with yeah, so basically the joke here is that freaking Warner Brothers Interactive patented the Nemesis system from the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games. And like, what, patenting a gameplay mechanic is just so shitty. Like, why would you do that? Now, apparently, I heard somewhere that like getting around the patent is actually not that difficult. You just have to design your games with you just have to find a couple of loopholes, and you can still have a system very similar to the Nemesis system without infringing on their copyrights, I suppose. My apologies, gotta go get ready to get wrecked. Continue to have a great stream. Thank you for dropping by, Liestan. I appreciate it. And you know, have a good stream, have a good everything, and I hope you have a good one. Anyways, I'd like to see a more modern Western take on Fatal Frame's formula. I will also mention that there is a like what's the name of it? It's called Fatal Frame Spirit Camera. No, not actually. No, it's not called Fatal Frame Spirit Camera. It's just called Spirit Camera on the Nintendo 3DS. It's a Fatal Frame. I'm pretty sure it's made by the Fatal Frame team, and it's basically Fatal Frame, but it uses the 3DS's like augmented reality technology to scan your room, your surroundings, and then like place the ghosts and things in your actual room. It's a very weird execution, but it kind of works. I've seen like a few videos of it. Well, obviously that's not gonna work with an emulator. That's something you have to play with an actual 3DS. I don't think we'll ever be able to emulate something like that. Well, you never know. You know what? You never know with the fan community. They could make a Souls successor to the Fatal Frame series. That was the case with Dark Souls, after they lost Demon Souls to Atlas. That's why Dark Souls exists. I did not know that, actually. Huh. Well, no more you know. But yeah, a Fatal and there is kind of a Fatal Frame spiritual successor in the form of Dreadout. Dreadout is it's very similar to Fatal Frame because you play as like a little schoolgirl taking pictures. It's just set in Indonesia instead of a Japanese mansion. And it's a really cool concept, and I actually have the game, but I just need to go play it. But yeah, I think a spiritual successor to Fatal Frame would be excellent. It's called Zero Project Purple Diary in Japan. Pretty much Fatal Frame. Yeah. So I forgot to mention, so in PAL regions, it's not called Fatal Frame, it's called Project Zero. And in Japan, it's just called Zero. And it has a kanji for it. I can't remember what the kanji looks like, but basically, it's, I think the Zero actually has something to do with, like, photography, in this case. But, I'll have to look it up. So who was it that patented gameplay during loading screens then did nothing with the idea for 15 years? Bandai Namco. Pretty sure it was them. And there's like a little tiny mini game that you can do on like the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games when they're loading. Like you can like, I remember in Budokai 2 you can like make Master Roshi spin. And that was just funny. But like that's pretty much the last time they did anything with it. So like for 15 years nobody could do anything on loading screens. Or whatever. Patches, the Moonlight Greatsword, and a few other Easter eggs are the only things From Software kept from Demon Souls. Moonlight Sword is also From Software's signature in all their games. I did not know, but again, I'm not as well versed on Souls as I know some people are, but I definitely want to play more games from the series. Imagine if Nuts turned into a squirrel horror game halfway in. I mean, that's a real horror game halfway in. It almost did. It definitely felt very horror-like a couple of times. Anyway, speaking of horror, let's get back to Fatal Frame. Third game is called The Tormented. And unlike the previous two games, there are no more versions of this one. It is a PlayStation 2 exclusive. You can only play this on PlayStation 2. Yeah, I don't know why they never made. I guess the Xbox versions of the previous two games just weren't selling enough for Koei Tecmo to justify making another Xbox version. So they just kept it as a PS2 exclusive. So the first version is the quote unquote definitive version of the game. This one I feel like this one combines a little bit of the mechanics from the first game and the second game, because the second game, Fatal Frame 2, changed the combat system a little bit. Still good, still works perfectly fine, but it works differently from the first game. Fatal Frame 3 goes back to how the first game did it and just refined it a little bit. And it's been a long time since I played Fatal Frame 3. I have replayed Fatal Frame 1 and 2, but I have not replayed Fatal Frame 3. It's been at least 10 years since I played this one, but I still remember that I really liked it. So I'm gonna have to come back to it one of these days. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I also didn't complete it. I think this was actually the first Fatal Frame game to introduce multiple playable characters. I don't know if Fatal Frame 4 has multiple playable characters, but I know for a fact that 5 has multiple playable characters. So it kind of became a trope. And it's actually... I feel like that's a common thing with some horror games. Like Resident Evil, almost every single Resident Evil game has multiple playable characters. I think the only difference being Resident Evil 3. And even then, you can't... you do play as Carlos for a little bit on that game. So, yeah, like... And Resident Evil 4, the main story only has you play as Leon and then Ashley for that one bit. But then you can also play as Ada on like the extra chapters. And Resident Evil 5 has Chris and Sheva. And then Resident Evil 6 has a whole cast of characters. And even Resident Evil 7 has some DLC that lets you play as people besides Ethan. So, yeah, I guess it's just a trope for horror games. Well, okay, not Silent Hill. Silent Hill does not let you play as multiple characters. Because the story of Silent Hill is always focused on the one character. Now, Silent Hill 2 does let you play as Maria on that extra mode, but that is a rare instance for Silent Hill to do. For Resident Evil Fatal Frame, they like giving you multiple characters to play with, which is cool. That's nice. My connection keeps dropping, but I gotta head to work anyway, so I'm gonna go. Good night, all well. I appreciate it for you for dropping by anyways. Have a good day at work. Hope everything goes well. Hope you don't have people blocking your your work tonight. That would just be kind of unfortunate. And yeah, have a good night. Anyways, again, did not complete. I don't even remember what you need to do to complete it, but I'm pretty sure I did. Whatever it was, I didn't do it. Been a long time. Not time old, just time. Okay, and this one was also like a 4 out of 4. Okay. So that's Fatal Frame. And then the other game was God Hand. Let me go back to the screen. Real quick. So, God Hand. This is another game by Clover Studios, you know, the Okami people. I played a little bit of this game, and I have to admit, I didn't find it as appealing. I feel like the controls are kind of weird. But I also understand that a lot of people really like this game because it's just so fucking bonkers. You get to do so many cool, radical, crazy shit to the enemies in God Hand that just for the spectacle of it, it's worth it to play the game for a lot of people. So I'll have to come back to it and give it a more thorough look. Play it for a little bit longer. Play it a little bit longer, a little bit wise, a little bit better. Yeah, and I remember there was a... It's funny, so this game got a little bit of a renaissance, not renaissance, but like another boost in popularity. I want to say a few, like 2 to 3 years ago, because somebody made a YouTuber made a video about it, you know, praising the game for how cool it was, and used the funds, like the YouTube money that he got from that video, to commission a whole bunch of NSFW art of the main, like, female character. And that's just the funniest thing. But yeah, he like made a video of God Hand, and then used the funds of that video he got from... Used the funds that he got from that video to get a bunch of art from... What's her name again? I'm gonna look it up. God Hand characters. Yeah, you. What's your name? Olivia. Yeah, there's a. So if you ever look up Olivia NSFW fan art, there's a bunch of new, like, couple years ago, recent fan art, like high quality fan art of her, because of that one YouTuber that just commissioned a bunch of art for her. Listen, the power of NSFW art, do not underestimate it. But again, games very highly praised by some people, but it's also very awkward. It is, I would say that it is not for everyone. A lot of people really like it, but that doesn't guarantee that you're going to like it. You might. It might be one of your favorite, like, beat 'em up games, or you might not like it. So again, I think I might end up not liking it too much, but I am willing to give it a good shot, like a good first impression. Not just play it for like a little bit, but like sit down and do a 2 hour stream of it one day and be like, maybe we'll continue, or maybe we won't continue. But at least, you know, a fair assessment. Back and give it a second look. I would be more like a second impression, not a first impression. But anyways, that is God Hand, and that is it for PlayStation 2 games on my PlayStation 3. So we can now move on to the PlayStation 1 games, which is that's where we can see there's a much bigger collection here. And this isn't even everything, because I did delete Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3, Spyro 1, 2, and 3, and Crash Team Racing because of the HD remasters, you know, and Insane Trilogy, Nitro Fueled, and Reignited Trilogy. So I intend on playing those versions, but I did originally own, you know, the PS1 versions of the game, and I played all of them and I loved all of them. I still really like the original PS1 versions, but I'm probably going to end up enjoying the I know I enjoy the Insane Trilogy more because I did play the Insane Trilogy on PS4, and I like the Insane Trilogy versions of those Crash Bandicoot games better than the original. Reignited Trilogy is the one I haven't played yet. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It looks fantastic. But whatever. Silent Hill. This game is actually the first like PlayStation Network purchase that I made. So that was like the first time I made like an online transaction, in fact. And I have played this particular Silent Hill multiple times, like 8, maybe 9 times. I remember when I first got it, I played it enough times to get all of the endings, because there are 5 endings in Silent Hill. There's a good ending, a bad ending, a good plus ending, a bad plus ending, and then a joke alien UFO ending. So I played it at least 5 times, probably more. And then I've also just replayed it a couple times through the years, because it's just a fun game to replay. Well, maybe not fun, but it's definitely a nice experience. And I've even I think I've even done playthroughs of it on YouTube at least twice. Yeah, it's a game I seem to come back to often, and we'll definitely play it again on this channel. I can assure you of that. I freaking love this game. It's also very scary. I mean, it doesn't really scare me anymore because I've played it so many times, but it can still rack up the tension. It can still make you be on the edge of your seat if you don't know what you're doing, or if you forget what you're doing. Now, is it my favorite Silent Hill? I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to give that to 3. I really like 2. Silent Hill 2 is phenomenal. But I think I like 3 just a little bit better. Just a little bit more. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 or 3 anymore, because I traded them in. But there is that Silent Hill 2 and 3 collection that you can get. I don't think you can get it on PS3, like through the PlayStation Network store, but you can get it on Xbox. And I think you can get them on PlayStation Now, that collection, but still, you can just get them on Xbox. I just make a regular purchase. If I can make a regular purchase, I would prefer to make a regular purchase over a like a service purchase. Nonetheless, Silent Hill 1, great game, fantastic. One of the most important games in the horror genre, because Resident Evil was was very important for the genre. It was probably the grandfather. Well, not the grandfather. Resident Evil is not the first survival horror game, but it was the first really good survival horror game. But Silent Hill introduced because the thing with Resident Evil is that Resident Evil still feels very gamey. It's a great survival horror game, but there's a lot of aspects of Resident Evil that still feel a lot like a video game, I guess. Silent Hill is the game that really tried to do something very, very different, very unique with the survival horror formula, as opposed to what Resident Evil was doing. And that's why a lot of games today try to go after the Silent Hill design philosophy as opposed to the Resident Evil design philosophy, because it showed that games can be really fucking scary. Like really, really fucking scary if you make them right. This one, despite how many times I've played it, you know what? I have never finished the game on hard difficulty. I don't know why. Just never have. I mean, otherwise I have completed it, but I feel like I do need to do that to really, really solidify that completionist rating. So for now, I'm going to keep it as beaten. And multiple times, all endings, hard. Okay. And is it a 5 or is it a 4? Is it a 5 or is it a 4? Oof, this is hard. I'll give it a 4 and might give it a 5 later. It depends. I'm sure if I watch like some YouTuber deconstruct the plot and like explain to me why it's so good, I'll end up giving it a 5. But until I watch that, I'll be a little bit more reserved with my score and give it a 2. I have hiccups. Hold on. Okay. Now let's see. Next game on the list. Well, we're just talking about these. Resident Evil Director's Cut. This is specifically the DualShock version of the game, which not only implemented DualShock controls, it also changed the music. And there's a whole story behind that. Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original versions, and I'm gonna keep this these original versions of the games, because I know the remakes are out, and but the remakes are so different from the originals that it's a different enough experience for you to actually want to play the original releases of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 and the remakes of 1, 2, and 3, because they're gonna be so different. It's gonna be wild ride regardless of which version you're playing. But Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil, how would you write that actually? Let's see. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Would it really be with a colon? I guess that's how most people seem to be writing it. Resident Evil colon Director's Cut. And let's see what the DualShock edition has to say about it. For information. original director's cut DualShock version. Was this in Japan and the US? Okay. I think this will actually not mention it. A new soundtrack was added to the game, composed by Takashi Niigaki. Contrary to Masami Ueda's use of electrical sounds to reflect modern setting, Niigaki's soundtrack is to intend to be more atmospherically associated with traditional horror. Well, again, there's a bit of a story behind this one, because this guy, he was going deaf. He was starting to become... He wasn't able to hear very well at this point, and it's like I think there was a whole thing like where he got his assistant to actually compose the game instead of him, while still taking the credit. And because he was deaf, or it wasn't him that was making it wasn't him making it wasn't his assistant making the music. It was him composing it and his assistant playing it, because he himself couldn't play it, and because he was deaf, he was becoming deaf. He couldn't really hear how his composition sounded like. So a lot of the music in this DualShock version of Resident Evil 1 leaves a lot to be desired, and we've got the infamous, and I'm actually going to pull out a video for this. From that, we got, I guess we can close this real quick. The infamous Resident Evil 1 basement soundtrack from the DualShock version. Listen to that. Listen to that fucking trumpet. Is that weird ass horn? That's where we got this from. From the guy just like not being open about the fact that he was becoming deaf, and then trying to pass it off like he was fine. And this is still one of the funniest fucking soundtracks I've ever heard, because it's so freaking bad. So it stands out like a sore thumb on a game that's otherwise so atmospheric and creepy. You get this, like, Jesus Christ, it's a mess. But there you go. There's the Resident Evil mansion basement theme from the DualShock version. Sounds completely different from what the original sounded like. In fact, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this is what the original sounded like. Very different. A lot more instruments going on. You know, you could definitely hear this in a horror game. The other one, not so much. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this for later. Let's go back over here. Put our library music back on. Okay. So Resident Evil, I guess it's called Director's Cut DualShock version. So yeah, that's the story behind Resident Evil DualShock version soundtrack. That's the gist of it, at least. I'm sure somebody else has explained it a lot better, and you can look it up and understand it a little bit more. Also, something to note is that Resident Evil, this version is not a PlayStation 1 exclusive. It's just mostly talked about from the PlayStation 1 version. But Resident Evil has very, very rarely been an exclusive. I think some of the more obscure spin-offs are exclusives, like Outbreak, Resident Evil Code Veronica 2, which is a rail shooter only available in Japan, I think. That's only on the PS2. Resident Evil Dead Aim. Yeah, there's some weird Resident Evil spin-offs. Those are exclusives. But the regular games, this game also came out on Sega Saturn, and it came out on Windows. And then many years later it came out on the Nintendo DS, known as Resident Evil Deadly Silence, which, you know, Deadly Silence DS. It's a joke makes itself. And yes, that Deadly Silence version is of this original release, not the remake that came out on GameCube. So yeah, they still made a version of this game even after the remake, so it just comes to show how different they are. Now this one, you know what? No, it's not completed. I've never beaten arranged mode in here either. I beat Real Survivor on the remake, but not arranged mode on this original release. I've done everything else. I got like every ending in this game. I've beaten it multiple times. I got the infinite launcher. I got all the things. I just never beat the game on the hardest difficulty. I guess that's the one thing that I really have to go back and do one day. Done everything except arranged mode. So yeah, I'll have to come back to that and do that one day, hopefully on stream. And that'll be fun. And this one's 5 out of 5. I fucking love Resident Evil. Man, I fucking love Resident Evil. Oh my god, I love this game so much. Okay. There was also the Resident Evil on Game Boy that had a battle system similar to it. Right! Resident Evil... Gaiden? What's it called again? Hold on. Resident Evil Game Boy. Unreleased project. Oh, there was a cancelled Game Boy version, but I guess it was finished. It was finished, they just didn't release it. That's unfortunate. I know the Resident Evil 2 got a... Yeah, Gaiden. This one's of Resident Evil 2 though, not Resident Evil 1. Very interesting. Look at that. Battle system down there. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not sure if I would really enjoy it, but definitely would be willing to give it a shot. Resident Evil 2 has its own history of weird releases and stuff. And I mean, we're about to get into that, so we might as well. Resident Evil 2. Actually, it's not a 2 written like that. It's a 2 written like this. Resident Evil 2 is one of the most highly praised games in the series. I believe when people are talking about like which one's the best, they bring up the 3 main ones, which is Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 4. When you have a conversation about like which one's the best Resident Evil, you'd probably hear those 3 names brought up a lot. Resident Evil 2 is fantastic. It is an incredible sequel. It is an incredible game on its own. It is an incredible survival horror game. It is just all around a phenomenal game. And the remake, I haven't played it. I have not played the Resident Evil 2 remake. I want to save that for a stream. But I do know the original release of Resident Evil 2 pretty dang well. And there's actually a version of this game called Resident Evil 1.5. I don't think it got finished, but basically it was looking kind of different. There were a lot of different locations. The characters looked different. The puzzles were different, and they just kind of decided to start over. Like they got like an area. Pretty sure they got like an area finished for Resident Evil 1.5, and then they were like, I don't think this is up to quality enough, so we're going to start over, do it again, and that's where we got Resident Evil 2. But yeah, Resident Evil 1.5, I'm going to look into that one day, because I think there is a playable version of that somewhere, and the other thing with Resident Evil 2 is that this is another game that got released into multiple systems. Again, a lot of people think it's like a PS1 exclusive. It is not. Resident Evil 2 is not a PS1 exclusive. Let me show you in how many systems this game freaking came out on. This came out on PlayStation, on Windows, on N64, on Dreamcast, on GameCube, and on Game.com. The hell is that? But anyways, it came out on all these other systems as well. And it's not like the PlayStation version is like the best version, because I'm pretty sure like the Dreamcast and GameCube version are pretty good. I would actually like to try out the GameCube version, see if it works on Dolphin. And I'm pretty sure the same applies to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Yeah, this one also... Well, it didn't come out on Nintendo 64. I guess it was a little bit too late on the console's life cycle for it to come out on that console. But it also came out on Dreamcast and on GameCube. Not on Game.com. I don't know what was going on with this thing, but... You know. Yeah, these games are not exclusives. They just were most popular on the PS1. And I guess the jaggedy graphics look best on the PS1. But again, that doesn't mean that they're PlayStation 1 exclusives. So Resident Evil 2, I got it on PlayStation. I would like to try out the GameCube version one day, and same for Resident Evil 3. So let's go ahead and add that. Again, I have not completed it. I have beaten the game. I never bothered to play Resident Evil games under harder difficulties. I don't know why. I guess I've always been like scared of the harder difficulties on this game, because I guess like it's gonna be too hard for me. Like I'm not gonna handle it, and I'm like, you know, now years later, I'm a better gamer than I was back then. I was like, I gotta challenge myself with this. So yeah, until I do that, need to do. I don't remember what the hard mode in this game is called. It's called the hardest difficulty. Well, let's see. This one's also 5 out of 5. Fantastic game. Awesome. It's all the right notes. And then Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This one's again. In the previous two games, you could select between Chris and Jill or Claire and Leon to go through the whole game. In this one, you only get to play as Jill, and again, you do get to play as another character for a little bit. But yeah, it's overall it feels like a smaller game just because it doesn't have multiple campaigns like the previous two games, though. But it's still pretty good. And the story behind this one is that this was just gonna be a spin-off. This was not supposed to be a mainline numbered title on the Resident Evil series. But Sony really wanted Capcom to make they really want Capcom to make another mainline game in the series. So they had to change their design philosophy a little bit and went from just making it a spin-off to a mainline third game in the franchise. Resident Evil Code Veronica was gonna be Resident Evil 3. And that's why it might technically be a spin-off, but it feels like a proper Resident Evil experience. Nonetheless, 3 is still pretty good. Nemesis is still really good. Again, feels a little bit shorter than its predecessors, but still a fine game. And the remake, I feel like just like the original Resident Evil 3 wasn't quite as special as Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 Remake apparently didn't feel quite as special as Resident Evil 2 Remake. But again, not bad. Good game. Great game. It's just they didn't really do a thing. This one's beaten again. I think I did actually beat hard mode on this, but there's again extra game modes and stuff. Don't forget about Hunk and Tofu. Like yeah. So Resident Evil 2 has like an extra game mode where you can like do it's kind of like a survival thing, like an arena gauntlet, kind of something like that. And there's this Hunk character and Tofu. Resident Evil 3 has something like that. I've never messed with either of those two things on both of these games. And I never really had much of an interest in doing that because I like Resident Evil games not for the fighting mechanics, but rather for like the survival aspects and the puzzle solving and all the tension, not the fighting. But I mean, maybe if I give it a shot, it won't be so bad. Oh, that's the ambience. Okay, let's see. What do I say about this one? I did play this one a few times. As its predecessors, but still great. Yeah, this one's a 4. I wouldn't say 3 is a 5 like the other two, but it's still a good game. Alright, that's it for Resident Evil's PS1 titles. Let us move on to the next thing on the list. We have been streaming for an hour and 55 minutes, pretty much. So we're only gonna do this for a little bit longer, but we do have Medieval. And I know here it just spells Medieval with only capitalizing the M. But if you see the box art over on the left, I can definitely tell that the E in evil is also supposed to be capitalized. So that's how I'm gonna spell it. Medieval. It is. It recently got like a year or two ago, got a PlayStation 4 HD from the ground up remaster, just like Crash and Spyro. So I definitely want to play that version. But it's an interesting story with Medieval. Was it Resident Evil? No, Medieval is that the first game has gotten remade twice. There's a PlayStation Portable version, a PlayStation Portable remake of this game called Medieval. What's it called? Medieval Lost Souls. Is that what it's called? No. That's just a collectible in the game. Resurrection. That's the PSP version of the game. So that's a remake. And then there's also like the PS4 HD remaster of the game, which I want to say, I don't know for sure, but I think Resurrection actually tries to do like different level design and different things. Whereas the PS4 version is like the exact same PS1 game, but with prettier graphics. And I guess, I don't know, I feel like I prefer the, I'll need to play the PSP version to see if it's really that different or if I'm just remembering it wrong. Because I did play it for a little bit. I did used to have it, and then I just got rid of it because I have a problem with my PSP that like the disk drive, the UMD reader doesn't work anymore. So my solution was to hack the PSP so that I could just download games into it without going to the place. Basically, I did some pirating, I will admit, but I also bought a lot of games that I had physically and then traded in. So it's not entirely, it wasn't entirely a bad apple. Medieval's PlayStation 1 art style and aesthetics look very different from the PlayStation 4 version, and it's not like the PS4 version is undeniably better looking, because the atmosphere on the original PS1 version is pretty good. It's a very it nails that style that it's going for, whereas the PS4 version looks a bit more cartoony, a little bit more bright and colorful and childlike, which, I mean, it's not bad. It's not like Medieval takes itself seriously, so a cartoony art style does fit what they were going for. But I can see why some people prefer the original PS1 version. I'll have to try them all. I did beat this version. Now, despite the fact that Medieval 1 has gotten re-released and remade multiple times, Medieval 2 has never been re-released or remade. If you want to play Resident Evil 2 without emulating it, you have to find a physical copy of the game. It was never re-released on the PlayStation Store. It was never remade. I don't know why it's specifically Medieval 1 that Sony really wants you to remember, but not the second one. Even though, like, I've played a good bit. I didn't finish Medieval 2, but I've played a good bit of Medieval 2, and it's a fine game. It's fun. It's got good level design. It's got everything that Medieval 1 has, just in a different location. It's like genuinely scary sometimes too. I remember as a kid, I actually could not finish Medieval 2, not so much because it was so hard for me to play, but because I actually got too scared to keep playing it. So I'm looking forward to revisiting that game one day as now as a grown adult. I don't think I completed Medieval. Pretty sure I beat it. I don't think I completed it though, which is kind of unfortunate. But let's see. Play the PS4 and PSP versions one day, and also the PS4 remaster. If you finish it, you unlock the original PlayStation 1 version on the remaster, which is the weirdest thing. I appreciate it, but it's the weirdest thing. But whatever. Is it a 4? It's at least a 3. I'll have to revisit it and see if I want to give it up to a 4. Add that to the list. And let's look at our backlog, because that's pretty much going to be it for tonight. So yeah, we've been streaming for 2 hours, 1 minute now, so our collection is now sitting at 66 games. We actually did make the beaten go up a little bit more, but again, that's going to go down later. I guess the last thing we can do tonight is go to the trophies and update the things that we need to update. So starting with Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Let's do this real quick. So Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Let me find that over here. Okay. There it is, 52%. How many trophies is that? 9 out of 12. So let's go down the list on the browser. Resident Evil Code Veronica X. 9 out of 12. Let's save that. Go back to PS3 games. What's the next thing? Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. Okay. That's a little bit too high up. Let me go ahead and switch to the correct screens as I'm doing this. Devil May Cry 2, 3, and 1. 1, 24 out of 34. I've not actually played 2 or 3 much, so not really gonna count those. But 21 out of 34 for Devil May Cry. Where is it? There it is. 21, 24. Put the browser back on so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Save that. And again, I don't have any trophies on 2 and 3. So not really much point in doing that. Okami, I don't think I have any trophies on that either. Demon Souls, that I do have some trophies on. Demon Souls, right there. That is 17 out of 38. Go ahead and put that on. PS3 games, Demon Souls. 17 out of 38. And I'm probably never gonna get the platinum trophy for this. That's way too much effort. But let's see. Next is Remember Me. That I actually do have a platinum trophy on. So let's go down the list. A little bit too far. Remember Me. 51 out of 51. That's a pretty hefty amount. Remember Me. 51 out of 51. Switch the browser. I have to keep remembering to like switch all of the screens and stuff. Okay, 51 out of 51. Stealth save. Doesn't really matter if you stealth save or regular save, as you can see. That does not get updated in the memory card. What's next? Ratchet Deadlock. I think I have a couple trophies on that, so we might as well look for it. Ratchet Deadlock. Yes, I have 2 out of 31. Honestly, that's not even enough to update it. Detonation. Let's go back. We're only doing games that start with either a D or an R. That's kind of weird. Anyways, 23 out of 41. I don't even think I can get the platinum trophy on this anymore because there's probably nobody online anymore. I don't even think the online trophies work still. But we'll see. 23 out of 41. Okay. Detonation, that's that. And then it's all of the other games. So none of these have trophies yet. PS2 and PS1 games on the PS3 do not have trophies unless they're actually HD remakes or remasters. But that is that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I will go ahead and drop this link one more time before we end. So there is a straw poll again. We are choosing what game I'm going to be playing next on the B-side experimental slot. Again, I'm probably choosing. I'm still choosing between BioShock and Half-Life something for the main game, but for my B-side game, I need one of. I'm letting you guys choose one of these. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, let's see. So next time I stream will probably be once again on Tuesday. I just happen to like consistently have a pretty good because I've heard a majority of games are thanks. Yeah, I just happen to have a lot of Tuesdays, not off. It's just that's like a good time for me to stream. Stream Bastion, catch you in the next one. I appreciate you for dropping by, Jackrabbit. As always, any company that I get over in the streams is always welcome. And yeah, so probably Tuesday we'll come back with either Hylix if the poll results are gonna say anything. Hylix is just gonna be the winner. So probably Hylix, but I'm still gonna let the poll up for a minute, and or we'll come back with either BioShock or Half-Life something. See you guys then. Catch you on the next one. Hope you have a great rest of your week and your weekend. Or if you're working, hope you have a good time at work. If Valentine's is coming, hope you have an awesome Valentine's. And if you're drinking, don't drive. I mean, with COVID anyways, you probably should be trying to do as much social distancing as possible. But whatever, I'm not your mom. But regardless, I can advise you, be responsible, be careful, all of that good stuff. And otherwise, have an awesome weekend, awesome Valentine's, awesome rest of your night. And I'll catch you guys on Tuesday. See you then. Bye bye.